Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Can you imagine waiting 10 years to get screened for cancer? On average, people with mental health issues experience a 10-year delay between symptoms and seeking help, and close to 2/3 of mental illnesses go untreated. Hearts for Minds promotes healthy lives by promoting mental health education, facilitating early identification, and connecting people to treatment. Are you ready to learn more? Go to heartsforminds.org. That's hearts, the number 4, minds.org for more information and to learn how you can help. Let me guess, you're probably multitasking while listening to this podcast, aren't you? Of course you are. We're all so busy and we work really hard for what we have. So wouldn't it be great to eliminate stressing about fashion? To regain those hours staring at a closet full of nothing to wear? Oh, have we got a great solution for you. Listen, I know I am one to stress about keeping a fresh, high-quality wardrobe, and I'm the queen of buyer's remorse when I do treat myself. That is where Armoire comes in. Check it out for yourself. Go to armoire.style/UU podcast, take a style quiz, and then you get to make choices. You rent the clothes, you wear them, and return them. And before you're even sending them back, you're replacing them with a new selection. It's like having a best friend with an endless closet. Right now, all of our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off your first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/UU podcast. That's ARMOIRE.style/UU podcast and get up to 50% off your first month. And never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back. With nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome, everybody, to Uncluttered and Unfiltered. We're the podcast for women over 50. And oh boy, are we being women over 50 today.
We are.
We are. So a little background. Today, Christine and I it's a Saturday afternoon that we're recording this, and we are going to try something new, which is we are in our own homes. I'm in my home. Christine is in her home. So hopefully the sound is good and you are able to hear us okay. But we want to tell you a little bit about the process that brought us to this, because this is an episode about we've learned from doing this podcast these things. And on our end, we've learned a few technical things. So first, let's tell about what happened last week when we were attempting this. And for the life of us, we could not figure out why these microphones that we just bought on Amazon and this program that I downloaded and thought I had done enough research about, why we couldn't hear ourselves. We were on mute.
Both of us.
We had both mashed the button on our microphone that said mute.
Yep.
It was flashing, and it took us maybe 20 minutes to come up with that idea.
Yes. We had to use our phones in conjunction to figure out why we couldn't hear each other.
So then we thought that maybe today we were having issues, and we thought it was because we didn't have the button on the headphones turned on. But I don't think, did it turn out that was what it was? No, it wasn't.
No, I didn't have, I had to go into some setting on my computer. It's just, I don't know. I'm not into this kind of technical stuff.
Well, the point of the story is that we learn, and we hope you learn. So I went into ChatGPT and I asked the question, what can someone have learned if they have listened to all of the episodes of Uncluttered and Unfiltered? And the list it turned out was super cool. It was like
I thought it was dead on.
It was dead on. It was everything we had hoped. It was things about organization, but it was also things about health and wellness and finances, relationships, friendships, alone time. It was really cool. And that's with your help. Everybody listening contributed topics they wanted to hear about. So we were really grateful. And you weren't surprised. You said from the beginning, that's exactly dead on.
I thought it was exactly dead on, and it made me just smile because that's exactly what we were hoping to achieve, is what it laid out, which is, like you said, a little bit of everything for women over 50. So I
thought it would be fun to do an episode of things that we have learned, you and I have learned through the course of doing this. And yeah, some of it's going to be the very same things that you guys have learned from listening. But here I am, like face to face with Chris week after week, and I have learned a great deal, whether it's something that she has told me or something that I picked up from someone we've interviewed. So I want to start with the first and most important thing that I've learned. And you guys probably learned it along with me. Maybe some of you knew it. And this was from an episode that we did about true crime. I never knew that you could murder someone with Visine eye drops.
Oh, the things I've taught you. I mean, I can't even. Yeah. I mean, you know me, being the crime junkie that I am. If there's a way, I'll let you know, because I've seen every episode of Dateline in 2020, so I know every way there is.
So that's one of them. And the thing about that is, I guess it's something kind of undetectable until now. I guess people probably in the labs look for the Visine.
Yes. You can't
so you
get away
can't
with
do it.
anything anymore between cameras and the detection of chemicals in your body. I don't know why people even waste their time. They're going to get caught. Just saying.
Okay, so that's something I've learned. I also learned from you about the potatoes. The potatoes, will you explain the potatoes to someone who maybe this is their first ever time listening to our podcast?
Well, this was told to me by a friend of mine, and it just rings true when someone in your life, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, your kids, whoever, they come, they vent, they tell you, oh, they cry, they carry on, and then they leave, and then you're like all hysterical and think about it all day long, and you call them and you go, how are you doing? And they're like, about what? And then you're like, what do you mean about what? Like, no, I'm fine. But all day you've been worried and stressing. And so every time, think about how many people do that to you in your life. They're bringing you a potato. Before you know, you have a sack of potatoes. And you're like, I don't want any more potatoes. I'm good. You know what I mean?
So the trick is to nip it in the bud, to hand back that potato before it's in your lap. So some of the things that you taught me, and hopefully everyone else listening, were to say things like, are you looking for my advice? Do you need my help? What is it exactly you're hoping to gain from bringing me this issue that you have? And especially when you have adult children.
Yeah.
And I just went through this week where I was telling my husband, our daughter let a prescription expire without doing what I suggested she do a month ago when our doctor changed practices, and that is get your records taken from one doctor, move them to the other doctor, go ahead and see her so you have a record of being a patient at her new practice. None of this happened. So now she's scrambling, and my husband said to me, well, how are you enjoying those potatoes? And I'm like, you know what? Fortunately, they were fast potatoes, because I said, that's what you can do at the Minute Clinic. You can go there.
It's true.
They'll renew. You can find a way, and then she took it from there, because I think both of my kids are learning. This lady, Auntie Christine, is making it very difficult to drop potatoes in Mama's lap.
I love that. They're like cursing me under their
breath.
breath.
You told her not to take our potatoes. Now we have to carry them ourselves.
Though. Everybody out there that has adult children, it's hard, and it takes practice. It doesn't happen overnight.
You practice on both ends.
Yes.
Practice on both ends.
Tough.
The other thing I learned is that if you don't watch out for your pelvic floor strength, your organs can literally fall out of your body. You knew that when Laura Bunso, the physical therapist, joined us for the episode about pelvic floor strength. The look on both of our faces, even though you kind of knew, but we were both like, I'm sorry, say what? What? And that is an issue for people. This kind of thing does happen. So if you are concerned, you can go back and listen to our episode about strengthening your pelvic floor. It's a good idea.
It's a very good episode. So much to learn that I had no idea.
And, as we get into the organizational aspect of it, one of the things I learned was about the Swedish death cleaning. Can you elaborate on that?
I love this concept because I've followed this through all the years I've been an organizer, and it's not waiting until you die and let someone else take over getting rid of your stuff. It's doing it while you are alive. Having parties where you give your stuff away, giving things to your grandkids, your kids now while you're alive, and not waiting and making it somebody else's responsibility. And I have preached that for years. And I just think, people always call me in when someone passes away and they're left with all this stuff. So I see the emotional side of someone going, I've had to deal with this and I don't want to deal with this. I've already lost so-and-so, a parent, a spouse, and now I have to go through all their stuff. So doing it before you die is helping your family, just going through your own stuff and only keeping what you really, really need and getting rid of the rest.
And listen, they don't need the aggravation of going through your stuff. They're too busy waiting for the autopsy to come back and see if Visine is in your system.
Yeah, they're too busy saying, this is suspicious.
This is sketchy. She just filled out that life insurance application.
Right. Oh, that's a dead giveaway, by the way. That's another thing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so as long as we're on the subject of organization and that, I wanted to ask you this because this is off topic of our little recap we're doing right now, but I saw on your neatly designed Instagram, that's Christine's company, that these guys rolled up in their truck to take away everything from the garage, and you referred to them as my guys.
Yes.
And I'm like, every one of these companies must know you, around town. They're really like, there she is. She's got work for us again.
I just, I really think that people do not rely enough on other people to get the job done quickly. And that's where I come in, because I can have things disappear in hours.
It was very cool. I'd like to send everybody to that. I'm going to link in the show notes that video because it was really cool. This garage was just full of everything you can think of it, because they had purged their home and put it all into the garage. And then up rolls this truck, which is one of the things I was going to say I learned from you. And that is, when you're doing a big purge, when you're doing a big clean out, schedule a pickup so that you don't procrastinate, that you don't take your eye off the ball or find yourself wondering what you're going to do with everything. If that truck is already scheduled to pull up into your driveway, it's got to go.
Well, even this client said, you're right. When I went back the very next day, she goes, everyone tried to pick through the stuff. And I said, I told you, that's why we had them come at like 8:30 in the morning, because people in your family and yourself will try to pick back through things that you've already decided to let go of. And so it's so important to decide where the items are going before you even start a project.
Another thing, and I loved that we had guests to talk about both of these topics, but dry eyes and flat feet. All right. So I learned, well, I know everything dries out. We've talked about that before. Everything dries out. Your hair, your scalp, your nasal passages, your eyes, and of course, everywhere else.
Yeah.
So, but as you age, but the dry eyes, we learned together that there were some recourses beyond just doing the drops that are on TV all the time. We learned that the plugs, I had this done. I think you did too. Where
I
they
did
put the
too.
Little plugs in your tear ducts.
Yes, I had that too.
There were just all kinds of things. And then you even had a procedure that the eye doctor that was on our show, and you can go back and find that pretty easily too in our index, that she did a procedure where she cleaned out under your eyelids and everything, all the buildup.
Yeah,
you loved it, right?
I loved it. I think that's like, you go to the spa for, certain things, a facial. To me, that should be, especially as you get older, something you just include, because it feels good when they're doing it. And then also your eyes feel so clean, and all the debris you collect from makeup and sleeping and rubbing your eyes, or it just cleans everything out. And doing it twice a year, I think, is a must.
So the procedure, I didn't write it down. It starts with bleph, right? Bleph something, but it's you can ask your eye doctor anyway, because you wouldn't want to try to do this without finding out first if it's right for you. Anything we have said a million times, we're just not doctors. We're just super curious. Hi, it's Eden. Christine and I have had more conversations than we can count about how some days just feel harder than others. You know, those days when you're doing everything right, you're eating healthy, you're working out, but your energy just still crashes or your mood takes a dive out of nowhere. Nobody is safe when that happens. We've come to realize that it could be hormones. And so if you have felt that way, Happy Mammoth has something that can help. The makers of Hormone Harmony offer a quick 2-minute quiz designed to uncover the root cause of these stubborn hormonal symptoms. It's easy. You just answer a couple of questions about what you're experiencing and where you're at in your life. People who take the quiz really do find personalized insights into their hormone levels, and they give recommendations like Hormone Harmony. It's an herbal formula crafted to support hormones in a normal range, helping with occasional bloating, chronic fatigue, weight gain, the mild mood swings. With over 40,000 5-star reviews and a bottle selling every 24 seconds, those results speak for themselves. So if you're ready to start feeling like yourself again, and that to us is what it's all about, head over to happymammoth.com and take that free 2-minute hormone quiz. For a limited time, get 15% off your entire first order with the code UUPodcast at checkout. That's happymammoth.com, UUPodcast, for 15% off today. The feet thing, that was a very recent episode where podiatrist Dr. Dawn Miles talked about how we lose fat. Well, you brought it up that we lose fat in the bottom of our feet. And then Christine says, and I had no idea, I read that people are having silicone injected into the feet so that they can wear their high heels. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Wild. So, but you're like,
I would do it. I would do that too. If I really thought it would help, I would do that, because I'm one of those people that have to wear those inserts of gel padding in the ball of my foot, because if not, it gets painful afterwards.
But she did say it was temporary. So for me, I think I would just go with the inserts all the time. But I guess if you're somebody who that really is, you're out there fashion forward all the time and you want those heels. She talked about the wedges and the block heels being better. Then it's all about just the balance of it all and spreading your weight through the bottom. So that was a great episode. If you missed that, it was pretty recent. What about you? Are there any favorite moments or anything, Chris, that
I do.
Good.
First of all, doing the Golden Bachelor, all those episodes, I absolutely loved it. Number one, I thought it was so funny. And number two, I am like fascinated with the over 50 dating scene, because it's so bizarre once you hit a certain age to get out there again and start dating. And we had the woman on about dating, and I learned so much. Yeah. And I learned so much from her too, because I felt like her tips are bringing you to this day and age. You know what I mean? You can't date the way you used to date. And I just find it fascinating, because I'm a woman who's been married 37 years. So I would need help like that woman gave, because it's so different out here. So I love to hear what men are thinking, what women are thinking, how it all works this stage of life. I'm fascinated.
You know what else I loved about her? She, I don't have her last name in front of me. Dr. Kimmy. She was great. We'll have her back.
She was great.
She talked about the red dress moment, and that aligns very well with something that I learned from you, which I kind of was not really thrown into it until I had a recent career change where I am back on TV on a daily basis. But the red dress moment was, she put on this red dress and she just felt fantastic. Yep. And it changed her confidence level. It changed her energy. It changed the way she felt people were responding to her. And you have always said, it's worth it. It's worth your time to put on a little bit of makeup or put on an outfit that looks nice, not expensive, not fancy, but just something nice when you leave the house. More than, and I am well known, in fact, locally in Jacksonville, I still am in contact with a radio station where I did mornings for so many years. And I was driving to work the other day and they were talking about pajamas and sleeping in the nude and wearing pajamas. And they brought my name up and said, well, Eden wore pajamas to work. So, I mean, that's kind of my thing. I always wore sweatpants, pajamas. Now I have to get a dress on, curlers in my hair, a full face of makeup, even the lashes. And I got to say, the whole day I have energy. I feel productive. I'm smiling at everyone. They're smiling back at me. And I just think it really creates, and I'm not saying everybody needs to do that every day, but
I just think
you'll
some
find
tinted moisturizer.
Yeah,
you
just
know what
even
I
that.
mean?
Maybe
Like,
a little mascara.
like tinted moisturizer, some bronzer, and some mascara. I mean, it can be very, very simple. Very
And that's
simple.
something we also talked about with George Brescia. Fashion icon George Brescia was on, and from him we learned a lot about colors. We didn't necessarily abide by everything. I mean, you still
Well,
love
I
to wear
tried,
black.
George. I tried to wear red. It just is not my thing. But I tried.
But I started leaning more towards blue because he suggested that. So I think we all learned a lot from him. But what I loved too was he said, you're not invisible. He said that so many of his clients will tell him that they'll run to the grocery store and think they're not going to see anyone, and then they run into somebody, and he's like, "Of course, someone's going to see you. You're not invisible." So,
And you
so that's
always run into somebody
Always.
when you don't want to. I
Correct.
don't know how many times that's happened to me where I'm like, I'm just going to go run in for one thing. And then you see two people that you're like, I just wanted no makeup, sweatpants. I just want to run in. So he's right. You're not invisible. You're going to see someone somewhere.
What else? Anything else that we want to hit on? Because I know we've had so many episodes
Oh
now.
my God. It'll be 3 years in August.
It will.
I
It
mean,
will.
that's a lot of episodes.
It's
a lot.
A lot. There are so many things that we've covered. I learned that Christine Stone hates with a fiery passion pit in her belly storage units.
Yes, I do. I think
Yes.
the only people that are winning from that is the people who own the storage unit owners, because so many people are investing their money into these units. They never go there. They don't know what's in them, but they're paying a monthly or yearly bill to keep them because the thought of going through sentimental items is just unbearable. So,
And it's a
yes.
monkey on your back. That's what you
Yep.
called it.
Yep.
It's something that you're always thinking about. Like, I need to do this. Why am I
Right.
not doing this? So, and of course, and you learned that I set alarms
Yes.
for everything. That's my
I've
alarm
learned
going on.
so much because you also hate to talk on the phone. You
I,
hate it.
You
You hate it. I mean,
do.
you'll do it for me.
I will.
You'll do it for me, but I can tell you're doing it for me. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I also learned from you that too much falls through the cracks when we don't have phone conversations. I learned
Yes.
from you that there is so much more that you can get done when you're willing to invest the time, pick up the phone and call someone. In fact, even at work now, I'll do that because it just solves. I had a woman I was on a text thread and yesterday and she said, "Can we just chat?"
Right.
And we
because
did. And
texting, everything gets lost in
Everything gets
translation.
lost. Yes.
Like I was telling you, oh shoot, I thought you meant this. Like,
Yes.
because people are so busy that they're short reading it. They're not thoroughly reading it because they have
Yes.
maybe 3 other texts going at the same time.
Well, and that was part of another thing I learned in the course of things, and that is slow down. We just had an episode about that. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Slow it down. Give the person on the other end of this conversation the time they deserve.
Right. I
So-
totally agree with that.
Yeah. And I wasn't doing that. And so I'm learning. I learn every day. And I learned that I can learn. And if you are listening to this and you don't think that you're able to learn a new trick because you're an old dog, it's just not true. We
not
learn.
true. Yeah.
We learn.
And one thing I can say that I have learned from you in these past 3 years, I've never seen anyone who can learn so quickly. Like, I am not a quick learner at all. I'll eventually learn it, but not quickly. You can pick up on something so quickly, and it fascinates me because I'm like, is it because she's 58 and in 4 years she'll be like me? Or like I start trying to analyzing, how does she learn it so quickly? Then I start to think maybe she was born that way. Like I analyze it because I'm like fascinated how fast you learn new things. Anyway, that was a sidebar.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. And I appreciate that. And I also have learned that there's a difference between 62 and 58. It's 4 years of youth.
Yes.
4 years of
Yep.
becoming more and more. No, I'm kidding. Because I mean, you're fantastic at 62. I'm fantastic at 58. Everybody should understand that we are absolutely the new versions, all of us listening. The world today is different. We're not 62 from when, our grandparents were 62. It was a completely different way. The Golden Girls.
Yeah, but I have to say one thing. When people say 52 is the new 42, 68 is the new 58, physically, maybe, the way you look on the outside. But I am here to say, inside, no matter how well you take care of yourself, because I do, I eat good, whatever. It's just your body is not the same.
The recovery is so much slower.
Yes,
It's so much slower. But also the mental, like you can't accumulate 58, soon to be 59 years of stuff and not have a little bit of judginess about you, a little bit of, you should have asked me because I could have told you this was going to happen going on. And let me give you an example. So today I was out driving and I saw these 4 little girls, and these girls had to be 11 or under. And 3 of them were on electric bikes. One of them was on an electric scooter. They had helmets on.
Like those.
I don't either. But I remembered thinking, gosh, I looked so forward to the birthday where I got a 10 speed. Mm-hmm. And what is it like for these kids right now where a couple kids in their class have electric bikes? Is that now the goal? Instead of, I can't wait till I get a 10 speed. Now it's, I can't wait till I get an electric bike. And I was like, am I being like an old lady right now? Am I having those thoughts of it's really none of my business?
Well, I'll age myself even more. I won a banana bike. Remember with the banana seat?
Yes, the banana seats.
I won that in a contest at a movie theater, and you would have thought I won $1 million. So, I mean, that I know what you're saying. Like, we got so excited about such different things. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's where they say boomer, 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 boomer.
I think what basically we've done now is recapped 3 years, and we've only skimmed the surface. So please, if you're new to us, go back and listen to some other episodes. We have a whole library of them. Maybe a little rougher than others because, we've tried a lot of different things, a lot of different ways. Also, I want to let everybody know that there are things that you can do that will help move this podcast along, like leaving reviews and giving us the thumbs up and telling a friend. That's what we mostly would love, is if you would tell one friend that's a woman over 50, sister, cousin, whoever. And by all means, please do join us on Facebook. We have a private group called Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Only. Just put that in your search bar. We'll see your request to join. We'll let you in. And, it's not like any shady stuff goes on in there, but it's a safe place because the only people in there are other like-minded women. So we would love to have you there. In the meantime, remember the idea that you just can't learn anything because you're too old. You can let that go.
And don't look back.
Uncluttered and Unfiltered is supported by Hearts for Minds. Can you imagine waiting 10 years to get screened for cancer? On average, people with mental health issues experience a 10-year delay between symptoms and seeking help, and close to 2/3 of mental illnesses go untreated. Hearts for Minds promotes healthy lives by promoting mental health education, facilitating early identification, and connecting people to treatment. Are you ready to learn more? Go to heartsforminds.org. That's hearts, the number 4, minds.org for more information and to learn how you can help.
You can't rely on blind faith to get the pregnancy support you deserve. Ritual's Essential Prenatal Multivitamin is the only leading prenatal backed by its own human clinical trial. Essential Prenatal is proven to deliver key nutrients, including folate, biotin, and vitamin D during pregnancy. Get 25% off when you visit ritual.com/clinical. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.